Hi, this is Tutor Nick P, and this is Word Origins 138. The word origin today is boycott. Okay, let's take a look at the note here. If someone boycotts an event, business, company, etc., he or she purposely does not buy or use something as a protest. Okay, let's continue. The origin of this phrase goes all the way back to the 1880s and was picked up as a term due to an Irish land war. And it comes from a person's name, so it comes from a real, actual name, Captain Charles Boycott, who was a land agent for Lord Ernie. Remember, like usually people with nobility, they had titles like Lord. Makes sense, he probably owned a lot of land at this time, and Boycott was actually just the land agent, kind of like a real estate agent. I guess he was somebody in charge of the land for him. Let's continue. Harvests had been particularly especially bad one year, and Lord Ernie offered the tenants a 10% reduction in their rent. So he did offer something. The protesting tenants demanded a 25% reduction, and Lord Ernie refused. So I don't know if this was common practice to do this at this time, but he did offer 10, and they said, no, we need at least 25, or they thought 25% was fair. And Lord Ernie said, no way, I'm doing 25. So the land agent Boycott then tried to remove 11 tenants from their land. Okay. Charles Stewart Parnell, who was a member of Parliament, the government, suggested that when dealing with landowners who take farms from tenants that were evicted, it was best not to get violent, because sometimes these things could get violent. Instead, one should just shun, don't pay any attention to them, just ignore them. To shun them. This is what happened. After Boycott took the evicted land, everyone started to alienate him. So they shunned him, they wouldn't talk to him, they wouldn't deal with him, they wouldn't do anything. The workers stopped working. So even though he took it from the landowner, he could have hired other people and had the farms running themselves. And this didn't work. So the workers stopped working. The local businessmen, they got to buy seeds and stuff. And other supplies for the farms, but the businessmen wouldn't sell them it. Would not make trade with him, and even the postman would not deliver the mail. Thus, the word boycott was born. So the first person boycotted was Boycott, and that's where the newspapers picked up on it. So the newspapers started calling that, to boycott someone, because that's what they did to Charles Boycott, basically. So this is where the word actually comes from. All right, let's continue. All right, and we got a couple of examples here. Most boycotts tend to be short-lived. Yeah, I've seen a lot of boycotts over the years. Some of them start out with some enthusiasm, and some people, stick with them for a few days, a week, maybe a month. Usually people tire them, forget about them, and eventually give up on them. So I think majority don't work these days. Now, obviously, this first boycott really did work. There might be a few others. There could be a few other examples you might find that actually kind of work. But a lot don't. But that doesn't mean that people don't try them. If you don't like the business practices of a business, you could choose to boycott them as a form of punishment, because that's what it is, a form of punishment. Sometimes countries might boycott each other too. Like I think in the 1970s, I think when the Soviet Union took over Afghanistan, I think we kind of boycotted them at the Olympics. I think the Olympics were supposed to be in Russia one year, and the American Olympians didn't go. And then the next Olympics, I think it was supposed to be in the States, and the Russians did the same thing back. They boycotted it. So, kind of a tit for tat sort of a thing. So you do this to me, I do it back to you. I'm not sure it was really very useful, though, because especially in those days, even more so than now, Russia and the U.S. always won the most medals. So if you don't go, you're just giving all the medals to the other side. So if the U.S. boycotted Russia, then Russia won far more medals. And when Russia boycotted the U.S., it was, vice versa, the same thing. So I'm not sure if that's really gaining anything. But anyway, that's the way it happens. So countries sometimes can boycott each other too. Okay, anyway, I hope you got it. I hope you found it interesting and informative. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.